Ladies and gentlemen, Fourth and Trollers, welcome back to Fourth and Troll Fantasy, the most entertaining fantasy football podcast on the planet. I'm Noah Selby.
And I'm Wes Selby.
And we have arrived. We made it. We watched football this week, you guys. We watched football this week. It feels like it has been ages since we came back for season 2. And now we are ready to launch straight into football season. You know, that means we are dropping episodes Tuesdays and Fridays. 2 episodes a week for you guys starting this week because football is back and I am so hyped. Wes, how you doing?
Football! I'm so happy. I've never been more excited to watch the Lions in my whole life.
Same.
They're going to kick off. It's going to be a great game. I'm pumped. I've had a couple of drafts already. Gone pretty well, all thanks to Fourth and Troll Fantasy and the great advice we have here on the show. We've got our Trollers League later today as this episode drops. I'm very, very excited for that. I've done a ton of mock drafts. For fun, I didn't tell you, but I want to just have a little fun. I want to hear from you, Noah. Right now, before the season starts, the team you think is going to win the Super Bowl, the team you think is going to have the worst record, and a coach that gets fired.
Oh, okay. Team to win the Super Bowl. I'm going to say, you know what? I could be a biased Dolphins fan and say the Miami Dolphins. And listen, I've seen people predict it. Listen, hey, real quick, just to give some respect, shout out Mike Clay from ESPN. His Super Bowl prediction is the Eagles defeating the Miami Dolphins in the Super Bowl. But he's got Miami in the big game, which is pretty cool to see. It is possible for sure. This roster is set up, the window's open, but I got a soft spot for Mr. Joe Burrow, and I think the Bengals are coming back to win one. I think the Bengals are coming back to win one. I think it's going to be them. A coach that gets fired. Listen, I'm going to say Arthur Smith. I think Arthur Smith could get fired. I think it's early enough in these younger players, but still him showing that, you know, I think he's been there 3-4 years now. The window is so small for these guys to keep their jobs. It's ridiculous. Mike Tomlin and Bill Belichick have done quite an accomplishment there by keeping their jobs so long. But I think their key players are young enough to the point where they might be able to bring a new head coach in and still be able to just this rebuild gets a little tick in its personnel and staff and stuff like that. So maybe that. And what was the last one? Super Bowl winner?
Worst team.
Coach, worst team. I mean, I think it's got to be the Arizona Cardinals. I think they.
Yeah, it's hard to not say that.
I think they have a ceiling of like 4 wins this year. So I think it's probably got to be Arizona. I mean, I think they're purposely tanking at this point. I don't know, Wes. I don't know if are you familiar with Impractical Jokers, the show?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
Okay, so do you know the character Murr on that show?
Yeah,
the bald guy. Yeah, so I don't know if you saw the Cardinals put out this video of Jonathan Gannon putting like
horrible speech,
doing like his speech or whatever, and all the comments on this speech were like, all right, Murr, now go hype up the Cardinals. Like it was hysterical. Awesome. It was like, and for today's punishment, Murr is going to be an NFL head coach.
I love that.
It's hysterical. Just the consensus that this is just a joke to everybody at this point, and I think the Cardinals just suck. I don't know. What do you think, Wes?
I was trying to think of a team that was going to do worse than the Cardinals. It's really hard to think they won't just be bottom of the barrel. Shout out to the Cardinals fans that watch Fourth and Troll Fantasy. We hope you have a smooth and quick season and not have to endure too much of this. Team I think win the Super Bowl is going to be the Eagles. I think they are so freaking great. I like the Eagles-Dolphins Super Bowl matchup. I actually think it's going to be a Bengals-Eagles Super Bowl matchup. which is what I said last year. So maybe I'm just trying to will this into existence.
I was a championship off either way. I said Bengals Niners last year, and I thought I was right there with it. And so, man, these teams are this. I mean, let's be real. The NFC is kind of a cakewalk. Well, so I don't know.
Yeah. Last one. Won't dive too much into it because, we're getting into fantasy stuff here. But I actually am I've really been thinking about it, and I think Mike Vrabel gets fired.
Oh, man.
I think Mike Vrabel, with what happened
they go down
at the end of last season, the last half, they completely botched the AFC South, and it does not look good in Tennessee right now. Training camp looks bad. And there is no, I mean, if they do bad with DeAndre Hopkins now, they might just say, screw it. Tannehill's gone. Vrabel's gone. We're going to turn to one of these rookie quarterbacks and see what happens.
Yeah.
And let's trade Derrick Henry while there's still some value. They might just leave DeAndre Hopkins out to dry. And he's like, what?
Yeah.
The John Travolta gift from Pulp Fiction. He's
just looking around.
Yeah. Anyway. Those are my picks.
Let's
get into our show. I'm so excited.
I know. Let's do it. We've got an awesome show for you guys today. We are previewing season kickoff Thursday Night Football, and then we are going to be doing some what ifs for this year's NFL season, and that's going to be. I'll leave it as vague as that right now because it'll be fun to jump into in just a little bit. It's going to be a super fun time. Before we jump into the episode, follow us on all our social media below. Like, subscribe, comment, ring the bell. Let us know. Give us some predictions. Give us a bold prediction for season kickoff Thursday Night Football. I want to see them in the comments here. It'll be something that hey, if your bold prediction comes true, we'll shout it out on the next episode. Bold predictions, drop them in the comments right there. Before we jump into the news, a quick word from our show sponsor. The show is sponsored by FQ Media Group. FQ is a media production company specializing in podcast production that empowers others to share their voice with their audience. For more information, check out fqmediagroup.com. And now, Wes, hit us with the news. There's things to talk about leading into week one.
There's so much to talk about. Let's start out here, Noah, with just a quick discussion about the two biggest names in football with the biggest news going on right now, Jonathan Taylor and Cooper Kupp. Let's figure out what we're going to do. Some people have a couple drafts left before Thursday night. So let's start with Jonathan Taylor. So we know that he was not traded to any team. He's going to stay in Indianapolis for now. Some people are speculating that this was a soft deadline for the trade and people are going to try to come later on. He may go to another team later, but don't forget that Jonathan Taylor is on the PUP list. So no matter what happens, he's missing the first 4 games regardless. There's still a chance he holds out. You had him, Noah, out of your top 20 because you were such a firm believer in this statistic about quarterbacks that rush for 500 yards don't produce strong running backs. Now, JT could have been the outlier the way that Saquon Barkley was with Daniel Jones last year. But this is so tricky. And for the record, if anyone is curious at all about the running back situation without JT, Deion Jackson's going to be the week 1 starter. And when Zach Moss is back in week 2 or 3, it's going to be committee between the two per their head coach. And after that, whenever JT is back, if he's back, that's going to be the situation. I want to point out and then leave this to you. So I am in a Yahoo league with some friends of mine. Jonathan Taylor's ADP has dropped to the 7th round. People are actually taking this so seriously. So at what point do we say that's a steal? Because if he's the way that we think he was going to be this season, draft him. Or is this just avoid him altogether?
It's really tough. So I'll also say in my work league on Sleeper, I mean, his ADP did not drop, but he was not drafted until I think it was the 6th or 7th round because and the guy that took him just went, Are we risking it? Like what do we do here? I mean, he had already got 2 running backs for his roster, and he was like, I mean, I guess we just take it, and if he comes back, he comes back. I was already out. I mean, he could fall to the 12th round for me, and I would go, I think I want to take Bigsby instead. I think I'd rather have Tate Bigsby on this team. I don't want to waste. I don't like wasting draft picks. And so for me personally, I'm not going to be the one that takes the shot. I'm not going to go, yeah, sure, he's in the 6th round now. Do I take him here? And I may be a little biased because for me personally, I still already did not believe. So either way, I was out on Jonathan Taylor. At this point, I still think he's a waste of a draft pick. And I think there are better people that you can grab. Even in a Yahoo league in the 7th round, there are players like Zay Flowers or Samaje Perine is probably going around there. You could reach on Raheem Mostert in the 7th round and grab him instead of somebody like that. It's just it.
I'm worried he's
going to hold out.
It's a very frustrating
situation.
That's where I stand.
That's my thought too. Because there's a business side of this that is the Colts left him on the PUP list. The Colts left him there. He is I believe the business side of it is he can miss obviously these 4 games. And then I believe he is due his salary even if he holds out at this point because he is starting the season on the PUP. So I don't think he's going to play. I don't think he will play. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe they end up trading him before week 8. Maybe he's a trade deadline move and he goes somewhere in the second half of the year. Maybe he, does, great numbers or whatever. Is it worth it at that point? I don't know. Is it? I just don't think it is at that point. So Jonathan Taylor, I'm still probably not drafting him even in the 7th round.
The most I may even consider is, let's say I've done all my mock drafts and I've got like 3 players like in the 7th round or whatever that he ends up landing in your site, whatever league you draft in. And all the players that I want are gone and JT's there. What I would consider, if this is something like a 6th, 7th round pick, I may take him and then trade him by week 3. And just let someone else try to give me higher pieces, try to sell the value of JT like, oh, this is an MVP candidate just 2 years ago. And now he's got Anthony Richardson to help take the load off it. Try to pitch it so that I can make a sell and then boom, I'm get some value in return. But I think he holds out. I don't think he's going to play this entire season. And I do think it's too scary. Let's jump over to the next superstar who is also a first-round talent, someone else that is also dropping into the 2nd, 3rd, even 4th round. Cooper Kupp is dealing with a serious hamstring injury. This is the 2nd time this offseason that his hamstring injury has sidelined him. This one is so bad that he actually took a flight to Minnesota to see a specialist so that a doctor could figure out what the root of the cause was. And he is, per Sean McVay, day to day. Now, obviously, he's down for week 1. This is such an extreme risk, injury-wise. And I'm going to share with you, and then I want to hear how you feel, because he was my wide receiver 5 going in, but he was your number 1 pick, really. He was your wide receiver 1, given the Kupp Stafford marriage we're used to. I have a friend, I live in Los Angeles. I have a friend who knows a sports analyst that is connected with the Rams. And he was saying that this type of injury is prone to flaring up often, and there really is no remedy. So this also feels like I'm not going to risk it. Now, this risk for me, he's going to be the wide receiver 1 every week that he plays, but how many weeks is he going to play? Where do you stand? Because you were far more high on him than I think anybody else in fantasy was.
Yeah, no, I mean, he will be the top scoring wide receiver in fantasy football when he is on the football field. I don't know when that is, and I don't think that will be too frequently this year. So I'm out. I had an opportunity in our draft on Saturday, Wes. I had a chance to take Cooper Kupp with the 7th overall pick in our league. I opted to go with A.J. Brown. I picked A.J. Brown over Cooper Kupp in our league and felt good, and I feel good because I just don't want to. I don't want to risk it. I don't know when he's going to be back. This thing is something that twice in a month has flared up. I don't feel good about it. And so he's not a guy that I'm rushing to grab in drafts and be able to take and have for my leagues. It's just not something I am interested in. I heard somebody talking about it, and I can't remember who it was, but they were saying there's a reality where maybe he misses the first month, and maybe the Rams go 0-4. And if the Rams go 0-4, and Cooper Kupp may not be fully healthy and ready to come back, I don't think the Rams are going to risk bringing back Cooper Kupp just to try and win some games if they're already 0-4. I don't think as a team you make up your mind that early on, all right, well, we're 0-4, so the season's over. I don't think that's the case. But if they're not winning games, I don't think they will rush to bring him back in order to win games.
They did this with Aaron Donald.
Right, exactly. That is Aaron Donald. They did this with Cooper Kupp last year. Cooper Kupp was cleared to come back and play around like week 13, and they were like, yeah, there's no reason. Like, there's no point. There's no reason to. Let's just keep him out. I'm just, the whole thing worries me, and I am so disappointed that my guy, my number one wide receiver is just playing out like this, because I was so excited for Cooper Kupp to have a comeback year. I thought he was going to win comeback player of the year. I was really excited for this, and now it is just playing out really poorly. So I'm out on Cooper Kupp, and it's a little disappointing.
I like how you phrased it last year, where football is better when Cooper Kupp plays. It's not going to be quite as great this season because it doesn't feel like the Kupp's going to play too much. Here on 4th and Troll Fantasy, we're going to say skip Jonathan Taylor and Cooper Kupp. They're too risky. Don't draft them. And if you already have them, I'm sorry, try to trade them ASAP. Okay. Let's fly through some of the rest of the NFL news. Then we got some wonderful stuff to get into. Let's talk about Joe Burrow, who is back to practice. He is borderline cleared for week 1. Zach Taylor is playing the long game. I think he's just trying to screw his opponent. I don't remember who the Bengals are playing week 1, but I think he's just trying to get them to wonder. The Browns, he's just like, are they going to have to play Joe Burrow? It changes all up. He seems fine. He's back to practice. He's considered day-to-day, but Zach Taylor has just not officially said the words. He is ready to play and will start week 1. Okay, Breece Hall will not practice much this week, had a rest day on Monday. He is still in line to play week 1, however, next to Dalvin Cook. And Robert Saleh said that there won't be a snap count for either running back. Obviously, this is huge because we're going to need to see just what this kind of committee looks like, because they're both great running backs. Who's going to be the top dog? We will pay attention to the snap percentage as well and figure out who is the more likely running back to start, if we even feel that you should start any. Of course, you're going to start one of them. Okay. Kadarius Toney will be ready this Thursday to play against the Detroit Lions. That whole punt return situation where he was just like had surgery, he's good to go. We're going to talk about the Chiefs wide receivers a little bit in our must starts, risky starts, and don't start. So stay tuned for that. The Broncos traded away Albert Okwuegbunam, Albert O, their tight end, to the Philadelphia Eagles. That makes your hero, Noah, Greg Dulcich, the tight end 1 in Denver, for anyone that wants to rock Russell Wilson's tight end for the season. Speaking of Broncos, Jerry Jeudy will be not on the IR to start the season. He had a little bit of a setback during this week, but he is only questionable for week 1, when we expected him to miss several weeks with a hamstring injury. Keep Cortland Sutton and Marvin Mims' names in mind as the likely wide receiver 1. A little exclusive here, 4th and Troll. Really, Noah was the one to encourage that for me. I'll give you the credit. Dolphins placed their running back, which one? Jeff Wilson, on IR, leaving more opportunity for Raheem Mostert and Devon Achane to be the RB1. Achane is still questionable, though, with a shoulder injury, so it's likely that Mostert is going to have the backfield practically to himself for this first week against the Chargers, which Noah and I will be out. Quick shout out. We're going to be at the game here in LA. Dolphins are going to win 57-3 at worst. It's going to be awesome. Anyway, TJ Hawkinson, hey, he signed a contract extension with the Minnesota Vikings. He's also in line to play for week 1. He's had a bit of back stiffness during the past couple of days, but he should be good to go.
Real quick, have you been following him this camp? Have you been following him this story?
No.
Yeah. So me either, except for moments that I get to just rag on him because I'm not a Hawkinson believer this year. Okay, he missed it was like multiple weeks of camp with an ear infection.
Yes.
And then he recovered from the ear infection and then was still out with some lower back stiffness. And then I guess $64 million healed him. Because now he's just back on the field.
You're saying
all this stuff.
He pulled a Darren Waller?
Dude, he 100% pulled a Darren Waller. I was watching this, I was like, dude, literally there were quotes that was like, he has an ear infection that's throwing off his equilibrium. I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, what are we talking about?
That goes hard,
guys. Just say you're in contract talks. Like, what are we doing? Just let it go.
That's hilarious. Thank you for bringing that to our attention because I enjoy that very much.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah.
Patriots decided to waive backup quarterbacks Bailey Zappi and Malik Cunningham, and for a moment, it was only Mac Jones as the quarterback for the New England Patriots, no other quarterback on their roster. They eventually signed Matt Corral, which, what did you point out, Noah?
Some people were like, dude, some people were like, oh man, they waived Zappi and Malik. This is a way to instill confidence in their starting quarterback. And I'm just like, it's just a way to lose football games. Like that's just a way to do that. Like I don't know. Like Mac Jones, you're our guy. Cool. 0-17. Nice. Here we go.
I thought Zappi did fine in camp. I don't know why they would even cut him.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
It might have been so last year. It may have been a bit of a confidence thing for Mac Jones because Jones got hurt. Bailey Zappi came in. People were like
Gillette Stadium chanting.
It's all about Bailey Zappi, all this stuff. And then especially Jones came back, didn't play well, and they wanted Zappi out there. I think that was the primetime game against the Bears, and then Zappi came out, whatever. All this stuff. So maybe they're just like, hey, Mac Jones needs to know he's our guy, whatever. Thank goodness they signed Matt Corral because it was like, yeah, cool. You're going to lose every game.
Wild. Maybe it's both.
Anyway,
it's a way to instill confidence for Mac Jones and lose a lot of games. So last two pieces of news here, just some housekeeping stuff. The Ravens actually did release Melvin Gordon when they were doing the roster cuts. So for those that were trying to see if maybe someone would sneak in while J.K. Dobbins has his injury history, don't get Melvin Gordon. And last piece here for defensive news, Von Miller will actually start the season on the PUP list for the Buffalo Bills. He's going to miss the first 4 games of the season because the Bills have a great defense. Just keep that in mind for those that are drafting defense. That's it for the news. Now it's time for our segment. What if?
Listen, we're gonna have a little fun with you guys here because as fantasy experts, analysts, whatever you want to call us, your friends, who knows, whatever. We do our research. We quantify as much as we can. We put together the best information to give you in order for you to have the best chance at winning your fantasy football leagues. And sometimes, like last year, that's information that we give that's like, dude, don't even look at the Seahawks offense. What are we doing here? Because it was going to be Drew Lock or Geno Smith. And then it just goes wrong. Things change and there are surprises every single year. So we are going to give you 3 what ifs each. We are going to just talk about what if what we think is going to happen doesn't happen, or what if we think has no chance of happening, does happen, doesn't happen, whatever, all this stuff. So I'm going to go through my 3 real quick and I'll segue into it real quick because my first what if is just, what if Baker Mayfield pulls a Geno Smith? Like what if? Like what if we are so low on this Buccaneers offense and Baker ends up not QB5, but Baker ends up like a borderline QB1, like a top 14, top 15 quarterback and Mike Evans and Chris Godwin are both inside the top 20, top 24 and what if this hot young running back just ends up being just this great guy who breaks off explosive plays and wins leagues? And what if this Bucs team, I'll just put it to that, what if this Bucs team pulls a Seattle Seahawks this year?
I'm smelling what you're stepping in, my friend. let me start with the optimistic side. Okay, what if that does happen, then we are clear to draft or trade for Chris Godwin, maybe Mike Evans too. Rachaad White would be the biggest surprise out of this whole scenario. I have confidence this is not going to happen, though. I cannot see this scenario possibly playing out. Cut to me saying this, and there's the highlight reel of Baker Mayfield throwing 35 touchdowns.
It's this, and then it's just Baker with his daughter in one arm, and then the Super Bowl trophy in the other. And it's just, we did it. We brought another one.
They photoshopped my face on his daughter's face.
Yeah, you're the baby, and you're crying.
I'm Baker's my father.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't see this. I don't see this happening for a couple of reasons. One, Ryan Jensen, their center, is out for the season. I just doubt that in anything for their offense. Baker Mayfield threw 11 interceptions in 11 days in camp, and it was a quarterback battle down to week 3 of preseason.
Sure.
I don't have confidence in Baker Mayfield. He might do fine. He might do average. It's a pretty weak division. There are 2 rookie quarterbacks starting. No. Not 2. Well, Desmond Ridder is not really a rookie, but there are 2 first-time starters in the NFC South. The division is up for grabs. I feel like the Saints are probably going to win that, but I don't see Baker Mayfield doing anything for fantasy. So I'm not buying into it. I like maybe Chris Godwin. That's where I will throw. I'll throw a little treat there for that.
I understand it. And listen, I don't think this happens either. The one component of this that comes to mind before I move on is just Mike Evans and how he has done. I believe it is 9 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons. And we're like, yeah, well, he had Brady the last 3 years. Yeah, but he had like Jameis Winston before that. And like 30 interception Jameis Winston. That's the... guys, I have so much pain from Mike Evans last year, but there's just a piece of me that's like we were with DK and Lockett. Like, what if we're wrong? What if we're wrong? It's not a what if I'm willing to be on the other side of. I'm still out, but what if we're wrong on Baker Mayfield and the Bucs this year, and they pull a Seattle Seahawks of last year? That's my first what if. And speaking of Seattle Seahawks, this will transfer me to my next one. What if Zach Charbonnet truly is just the backup? What if? Like, what if all this hatred and anger we have had about why would you do this? You have Kenneth Walker. Why would you do this? What if it really is just like Zach Charbonnet is just going to be the Travis Homer to the Kenneth Walker's Chris Carson? Like what if that's the case? What if Kenneth Walker, who we're drafting later now because of this draft pick, just comes out and is the top 10 guy we thought he would be at the end of last year, like coming into this season? What if, Wes? What if?
This one keeps me up at night.
I know, dude, me too.
This is such a good what if, because as soon as last season ended, I just jotted down some names that I want to forget. I don't want to forget how good they were, because I don't know how high their ADP is going to be, and I want to remember that these are the players I want to lock in on and remember as bona fide stars. Kenneth Walker was the first name I wrote down, and I was already set. He's going to be a lock for top 5. I was confident in him. And then this happened. They draft Zach Charbonnet, and it pissed us off so bad. And people responded as well, and he's fallen to the 4th round. But dude, what if he is just the RB1 and Zach Charbonnet is a backup? This is a crazy what if, because people are going to get 2 top 5 running backs on their team if they draft someone before him. I don't know. I don't know what the what if is.
I have a bold prediction. the Seattle Seahawks play the Los Angeles Rams in week 1. In Seattle, I believe. I believe it is in Seattle.
Okay.
Mark my words. Kenneth Walker III will be a top 5 running back in week 1. It's going to blow our minds. We're all going to go, we're so stupid. Of course he is. And here's the thing.
Oh my God.
Zach Charbonnet had like a groin tweak or something like that. He's dealing with a little injury. He's practicing through it, stuff like that, whatever. I don't know that they roll out this rookie in full force week 1. Dude, Kenneth Walker's going to come out and piss off so many people week 1 because we're all going to be like, why? Why did you guys do this to us? Why did we think? And guess what? Maybe sell high. Maybe just sell Kenneth Walker III right then and there because this what if won't happen. But
go get Bijan.
For some dummy who drafted like Aaron Jones or something like that, be like, hey, Kenneth Walker III, told you he's back. There he is, baby. And and then go get Bijan Robinson.
That's something to look forward to for our next week from today, Tuesday's episode. Trying to figure out our first mark
Zach
my
Charbonnet
words.
Truly is just the backup. We'll have to see.
How can you do better than that? You've got one more what if. How is there something better than this?
I got one more. And I think it's a what if that a lot of people are thinking about. It's got a lot of implications. What if Sean Payton fixes Russell Wilson? What if? What if the high-poweredness of the Seattle Seahawks offense that we would see with Russell Wilson just transfers over? Sean Payton fixes them. We get a little touch of Drew Brees era success of the Saints in this Broncos offense now mixed with Russell Wilson's prime in Seattle. What if Sean Payton fixes Russell Wilson? I'll tell you what if. This offense is going to have many top 10 to top 20 fantasy weapons on its team. Javonte Williams is going to be a top 20 guy, maybe top 10. Samaje Perine will definitely be a top 20 guy. Greg Dulcich, probably going to be a top 15 guy. Courtland Sutton, if Jerry Jeudy comes back, maybe those two guys both end up in the top 20. If Sean Payton fixes Russell Wilson, with how good that Broncos defense is, this Denver team really could challenge the AFC West. And really that division might end up being one of the best divisions in the league. What if Sean Payton fixes Russell Wilson?
There is no more for me to comment on because I think that can happen. I think that will happen. And I do think that we have so undervalued Courtland Sutton because of what happened last year. I had Courtland Sutton in my top 5 last year because Russell Wilson showed up to Denver and I was like, he's the man. I'm pumped for him. We've all been waiting as Broncos fans to see Sutton break out, and that did not happen. I'm not saying top 5, I'm not saying top 10. I'm not even sure if I'm saying top 15, but I do think there's a chance that, just as you said, we're going to have 4 top 20 players from Denver because Sean Payton's going to do it. The person I'm most excited about because of this scenario is Javonte Williams. That's who I'm actually most excited about. I think Russell Wilson, well, we saw week 1, week 2, Russell targeted Javonte like crazy. It was like 10 or 11 targets in week 1 against Seattle. 11
targets in week 1, yeah.
It's amazing. So I think that is the what if we're going to live in. That is the alternate dimension we're going to probably see. Yeah.
Yeah. We're going to have to see. Wes, run me down. Run me down.
Done. Next question.
Next one, yeah. Run me through your what ifs before we jump into a Thursday Night Football preview.
Okay. Got 3 of them, and I've got them ranked. Number 3. He was kicked out of his team because the coach didn't like him. In fact, before he was even traded, they drafted his replacement. Now, this running back is a new home. We've all been hoping that he has a breakout season. What if DeAndre Swift meets his potential in Philadelphia?
No shot, dude. No way.
What? No shot?
No way. No shot. Here's the thing. And I'm not a DeAndre Swift hater. I so badly wanted to see him just do so well in Detroit, as in many people. We all were like, come on, Swift is going to, this is the year for Swift. This is the year for Swift. It just didn't happen. There's too many cooks in that running back room kitchen for me to be comfortable with. The reports I'm hearing are that it's going to be a committee, but Kenneth Gainwell will be one of the guys that is heavily involved in the early down roles. So maybe DeAndre Swift becomes a third down back, maybe a scat back. The Eagles and Jalen Hurts don't throw the ball to the running back enough for me to buy in on this what if. If they did, if DeAndre Swift went to, let's see, who's a team that needed a running back? If DeAndre Swift got traded to the Browns, if he replaced Kareem Hunt, if he was the third down back there instead of and Nick Chubb played the early down work and DeAndre Swift, man, I'm now talking myself into why didn't the Browns make that trade? Because
I'm starting to
fantastic trade they should have done. I don't know why they didn't do that.
Madden and see what that's like.
Can we make that happen? If that happened, DeAndre Swift probably would be inside my top 20, maybe my top 15, because of how Kareem Hunt was used in that offense. And Kareem Hunt, once upon a time, was very, very good and still did very solid when he was towards the end of his time in Cleveland. But DeAndre Swift is a freak of nature when it comes to being the third down back, a scat back, a receiving back. I just don't see it happening in Philly. And so for that reason, that's why I feel like I'm on Shark Tank. For that reason, I'm out.
Well done. I'll just throw in that I have been seeing through training camp that they are trying to create plays intentionally designed to throw the ball to DeAndre Swift. So I know the PPR potential is there.
I've seen that as well, yeah.
Know, but I don't know if his full potential is met. I don't know if this is the 33rd pick overall DeAndre Swift that the Lions took. All right. That's my number 3. Number 2. For most of this offseason, you and I have been saying that if there was one team that we're going to keep away from, it's going to be anyone with a letter G on the side of their helmet. But they don't look terrible anymore. What if we're wrong about the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Jones is a top 10 running back again?
Okay, so here's the reality I see where this happens. And it's playing out right now because the early favorite, the early buzz was Jordan Love and Romeo Doubs are just having this connection. They are, Romeo Doubs seems to be his favorite target. Romeo Doubs was my favorite round 15 target in my mock drafts. He was my favorite second to last round pick. He's dealing with a hamstring injury, so I'm not feeling great right now about that. And I actually passed on him and picked up Marvin Mims instead in that 15th round. But there's a reality here where Jordan Love just absolutely just doesn't skip a beat and continues to feed this PPR production to Aaron Jones. It could happen. There are reports that A.J. Dillon will take over the rushing work. That's fine. I think Aaron Jones could still end up as a poor man's Christian McCaffrey, to be completely honest, because that is how he essentially was being used when Aaron Rodgers was there. LaFleur is a smart coach. It just really depends on Jordan Love for me. It depends on Jordan Love. I mean, it's not hard to maybe check down and get the running back the ball, to get some guys having an easy, little shortened out route, stuff like that. But I am so up in the air on this, and I really don't know, because I was very tempted, because I really don't like a lot of the quarterbacks outside like the top 8 or 9 or so usually. I was very tempted to just, in our draft this weekend, just send it and just, all right, let's just see what Jordan Love does. Let's see. Let's just wait till round 14 and just load up on other depth and talent. It's a very strong what if, and we need to really take it into consideration, because if it pans out, the Packers could just not miss a beat and just still challenge for the division.
Must be nice to be a Packers fan if that's the case. He's just rolling down with Hall of Fame quarterbacks, always making playoffs. Look, I'm willing to be wrong about it. I'm still not drafting Aaron Jones, but if someone beats me in the championship with Aaron Jones as their RB1, you've earned it. Good for you. You took the shot. Yeah. You did it. I'm not taking the shot because it's so foggy. It's such a cloudy question.
Very foggy.
What if Aaron Jones is as great as he used to be? Okay, last one. For me, this is the biggest what if of the entire NFL season. Everyone should ask themselves this question at least once because they're probably the most hyped team in the NFL. They're Super Bowl favorites by a lot of people. It seems like everything is set up for them to succeed, which also means that they could also be set up for a massive, massive disappointment. What if Aaron Jones and the New York Jets are just really bad?
Aaron Rodgers?
Rodgers, thank you. What if Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets are just really bad?
If Aaron Jones is playing quarterback for the New York Jets, they are going to be really bad.
Crazy.
If Aaron Rodgers, what if Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets are just bad? No way they're going to be bad, dude, right? There's no way. I mean, there's no way. I could just be the Hard Knocks viewer in me talking right now, but dude, I got into Hard Knocks later this season, and I've just been binging it and I'm all caught up. Dude, this team just looks so good. The culture they're building looks so good. Rodgers is being such a leader. And yet they could. This all sounds all too familiar. Because we did it last year with Denver. And they were so bad. Man. What if there's a Nathaniel Hackett curse? What if that's it? What if that's the case? I don't know. I will be so shocked. Jets? I will be so shocked if they end up being bad. Here's the thing. They could still be third in the division and not be bad. They could be third in the division and win 11 games and still be third in the division, and we wouldn't count it as bad, even though they're third in the division. I cannot see it happening for them to have a bad season. I think Rodgers is just coming out there with his swag. I think he's got them feeling good. I think the defense is going to be so good. It's a tough division, but I do not think the Jets can be bad this year. I guess it's a subjective question for what you consider bad, but I cannot see the Jets being bad this year.
It hasn't swayed me yet from drafting or at least wanting to draft Garrett Wilson, but it's it's almost too good to be true, right? It's the way that Brady walked into Tampa Bay and was like, oh, come on, Gronkowski, Antonio Brown, let's go win a Super Bowl together. Ha, ha, easy, first try, let's do it again. And then Russell Wilson was like, I like what they did. Hey, everybody, what's going on in Denver? Oh, my God, the coach is fired and I am hated. One of those will happen. I'm excited.
One of those two outcomes.
It's that Monday night, right? Against the Bills?
Monday night, yeah. Monday Night Football against the Bills in Buffalo, I believe.
The Buff.
I may be wrong on that, but I believe it is in Buffalo. Some juicy what ifs. And let us know what you think. Go to the comments below. Let us know what you think. What's the wildest what if we've talked about? Which one do you agree with? Let us know. Before we close out the show, let's do a quick Thursday Night Football preview, Wes, because we are back with some must starts, risky starts, and don't starts. Wes, take it away, but I have a feeling we're gonna be chatting it up together here for a decent amount of this.
We sure will. Let's talk about the Lions at the Chiefs. Our must start. Let's just preface with this. Obviously, we're going to avoid talking about the must starts of like Mahomes and Kelsey and Amon-Ra St. Brown. So who is really the must start that you have any kind of question on that should be in your starting lineup? It's going to be Jahmyr Gibbs, their rookie running back. And Noah and I, look, we're going to do a fourth and troll double down on this thing, baby, because obviously, you should start Jahmyr Gibbs. You shouldn't worry about a rookie going against the Super Bowl champions. Now, if there was any concern, let's just kind of run through a couple of things here. Everything that we know about Jahmyr Gibbs is that he is worthy of that first-round pick. We know how Dan Campbell reacted when they drafted him. What we're seeing out of camp is that he's a patient runner already. He is great in the space, in the open field, great yak work as well. He's being used in the red zone, in scrimmages, and in red zone drills. He is going to be involved heavily. I'm not even worried about David Montgomery vulturing any touchdowns for him. Montgomery might vulture a touchdown for him. That doesn't change that I want to start him, and that Gibbs is still going to probably put up 15 plus points. It's going to be great. Quick reminder of what he did in Alabama last year in the receiving game: 44 catches, 444 yards. That's 10.1 yard per catch, and 3 receiving touchdowns. Just transfer that over. We're going to see that right away in week 1 this Thursday. And you want a little extra boost, a cherry on top, a Kansas City Red cherry on top. Chris Jones is holding out. So there's the best piece on their defense, not even there in the front line. I'm super excited for Jahmyr Gibbs. How about you, man?
Yeah, no notes really to say. I mean, it is just Gibbs is going to be plugged into this offense right away. The most beautiful thing I saw after their first preseason game was Jahmyr Gibbs not being on the football field, because they went, yeah, no, we're good. We saw you get some action. We saw you be out there. You're good. You know, we saw people like, we see people play in the preseason that are still, Khalil Herbert played in a couple preseason games and he had a couple drives. We saw, DeAndre Swift play in the preseason games. We saw Rashad Penny, stuff like that. Like guys like that who have been in the league for a little bit, who have shown that they're good, stuff like that. They played multiple games. Jahmyr Gibbs gets like a couple drives, and then they're like, no, we're good. Like we know what we're doing with you. We're happy with you. We're good to go. Jahmyr Gibbs, plug him in. No doubt about it. You drafted him to play. So it's not, you drafted him in probably the 3rd or 4th round. So you're not going to wait on your 3rd or 4th round pick. So Jahmyr Gibbs is a must start. He is going to be that guy. And like Wes just said, Chris Jones is holding out. So he's going to have some good opportunities here. He's going to get some good work. And with pretty much just Amon-Ra St. Brown and maybe another little risky start a little later, pretty much Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be potentially second in line for targets, maybe third. But in a game against Kansas City Chiefs, it's going to be high scoring. They're going to need to score points to win the game because they want to win football games. They're going to go to Jahmyr Gibbs there. They're going to get him involved. So Jahmyr Gibbs is a must start.
Yeah.
If you want to win the game, you score points to win the game.
You got to score more points than the other team.
Yeah.
You're a turducken. Anyway.
Yeah.
All right.
There you go. Wes, who is a little risky and somebody that, maybe is worth a shot. Somebody that you're thinking about, and maybe it comes into game time and you're going to make your decision, but let me know who it is.
I teased them last episode. If you haven't watched last episode, go for it. Go check it out, YouTube. My risky start is going to be rookie tight end for the Lions, Sam Laporta. Good risk. A good risk. Okay. Rookie tight ends, as I learned on air with Noah as I was doing our first blush reactions to rookie tight ends. I was like, Dalton Kincaid's the next Cooper Kupp, and Michael Mayer's the next Gronkowski. He's like, you are dumb. Rookie tight ends
what are you doing, dude?
Terrible in fantasy. Okay, so I recognize that. But Sam Laporta may actually be great already. He established himself very, very, very quickly as one of Goff's go-to targets in camp in this offseason. He is practically almost exclusively throwing to Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta. He is used heavily in the red zone as well. This is quintessential tight end fantasy juice that you want for someone that you don't even know if you're going to see much of in this season. He's what? 13th, 14th round, he's such an easy pick, but is he worth starting? He's a risk. I say absolutely. I'm starting him in our league that we just drafted, and for a little bit of confidence, mark my words, this rookie's going to score a touchdown in his very first game.
Dude! No way! I literally was gonna mark my words on your
serious?
Risky start. I'm not even kidding you. As you're talking, I'm going, dude's got to get in the end zone. Like, dude has to get in the end zone. Like, he's going, like, with the amount of weapons that they don't have, like, dude is going to find the end zone. Guys, I echo it completely, and I think he's a great risky start. Think about TJ Hawkinson. Think about TJ Hawkinson on this team, how involved he was, how much of a trusty target he was for Jared Goff. And for the system, Dan Campbell is a man's man. Dan Campbell played tight end. Dan Campbell draws up plays for the tight end. Sam Laporta is finding the end zone. I don't know if we can double down and mark my words, but I'm doubling down and mark my words. Like
fourth and troll, double down, mark my words.
just the insert, like the clip of like the Krusty Krab when it's on fire and everyone's just losing their mind. All this stuff.
We are about Sam Laporta. That's amazing. All right. Your risky start this Thursday. Who's it going to be?
Yeah, it's going to be Isaiah Pacheco, obviously running back for the Kansas City Chiefs. Listen, we watched Pacheco over a 10-game stretch to close the season. I'm including the playoffs because that shows his production, but it shows what he did then. I'm not using his ranks, or I'm not going to be like, he was on average the RB7. I'm not going to be like that because there's obviously in the Super Bowl, there's like 3 running backs playing, so it's easy to be the RB1 in the Super Bowl as far as fantasy goes. Over his last 10-game stretch, including the postseason, he averaged 12.5 points a game. So we see the opportunity here. He's a decent flex play, and that's where you drafted him if you have him. If you're feeling like you're maybe you drafted Alvin Kamara and you don't have him for the first couple weeks. Maybe you need to fill in spot there, something like that. I think Isaiah Pacheco could be a decent option because while he did average, about 12.5 points per game over that last 10 games he played, the Lions' run defense sucks. The Lions' run defense is really bad. We saw so many people just go off against them at the beginning of the year last year, first half of the year. They got a little better at the second half of the year, but I think they're going to be a little worried about a guy named Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. So I think there could be some lanes opened up here for Isaiah Pacheco to potentially get into the end zone. Listen, if he finishes the game with 12 carries for 70 yards and a touchdown, I won't be surprised at all. I think that's definitely a startable flex play for you. He's a risky start for me. How do you feel, Wes?
Just for clarity, so it's said audibly, this is a good risk, yes? Good risk.
Okay. I believe this is a good risk. If you're in a situation where you're weighing out your options, I think he can get you 13 points, and I think that's a solid flex play.
I also want to, so I like it. It's a little too risky with my current teams to consider him as a flex, but let's say that you're someone that drafted Jonathan Taylor and you just held out because you're like, you know what, I'm going to go get DeAndre Swift because, why not? I don't need another running back. And then all this happens. People that draft earlier, like during preseason, stuff like that. If you're in a situation as such, this is an opportunity to try to consider Isaiah Pacheco to start this Thursday. Don't forget the PPR game because that's what the running backs do in Kansas City. Think of Jerick McKinnon, who is still on the team. He re-signed. I expect McKinnon to also see some good PPR work. All the running backs are going to be involved, but Pacheco nearly had 1,000 yards rushing, and he was like the 7th round pick in the NFL draft and won a Super Bowl with the Chiefs and did well, and he's fast, and he wears the number 10 well for Kansas City because he's got that speed that Tyreek Hill had as well. I don't hate it. I think Pacheco has an opportunity to be a decent starting running back in the NFL for a football team that you can throw in as a flex option for great bye week fill-ins and injuries and stuff. Yeah, Pacheco this week, outside of Aiden Hutchinson, the Lions don't have a lot right now. Was it Jeff Okudah and
I think Okudah's on like the Falcons. I think
Okudah left. They have CJ.
Yeah, there's not.
Right, CJ Gardner-Johnson. Yeah, that's who it is. But he's out anyway.
There's a lot going on. It's just we're a lot of moving parts on the Lions defense. That's Pacheco, a little bit of a risky start, but one that I feel okay if I were to have him on my team and I needed him in this situation. I would roll him out there. Let's talk about somebody or some people that we're not starting, Wes, and this one's pretty easy. Just don't touch the Kansas City receivers. Don't take week 1 to be like, here's my shot. Here's where I'm calling my shot. It's Sky Moore. It's Justin Watson. It's Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Listen, let's get real. Kadarius Toney won't make it through the game healthy, so he's not. Don't even think about him in your lineup. That's not going to happen.
Roasted.
Also, I'm gonna feel terrible if that actually happens. I'm very much joking.
Not wishing this. Not asking for this.
I'm very sorry. Very sorry, Kadarius. Anyways, listen. There's no one worth taking the shot on in week 1. Could somebody emerge as the top wide receiver on this team on a consistent basis? Yes, somebody could. Not worth taking the shot on right now. Don't call your shot. Don't make it happen. Patrick Mahomes threw touchdowns to 11 different pass catchers last year. Don't think about it. Just don't. It's not worth your time. It's not worth the energy of trying to figure out who it is. I'm saying don't start Kansas City receivers. Wes, you with me?
4th and Troll, double down. Don't start the Chiefs wide receivers. It's
Boom.
not. Don't be clever. Don't be cute. Don't try to
Don't be cute.
Take advantage of the situation and be like, watch me surprise in the matchup and beat my opponent. No, start the obvious players on your team, and it's obviously not any Chiefs wide receivers. Just a reminder, as Noah said, 11 different pass catchers scored a touchdown for Patrick Mahomes last year. Mahomes set the NFL record for most all-purpose yards in a season. And the best wide receiver on the team was Juju Smith-Schuster, who was wide receiver 27 in PPR.
Yeah.
Don't start any Chiefs wide receivers. And in case it needs to be said, Travis Kelce is the best wide receiver on that team.
Yeah.
So it's not like
if you're not
look
up
for
to
number
date
one
with the Chiefs offense, Travis Kelce's good.
Yeah.
Travis Kelce's good. He's the guy.
Nothing else to add.
Enough said.
Just don't be cute. Don't be clever. Don't start a Chiefs wide receiver.
Yeah, that's it. Listen, we are here. The next time we will talk to you guys, we will have seen an NFL football game. There are no words to describe how excited I am, but it's going to be a great time. We got another episode coming at you on Friday. Double episodes starting this week. It's going to be a fun time. Let us know. Are you willing to take the risky start on Isaiah Pacheco or Sam Laporta? Like I said already, drop your what ifs, your own what ifs, in the comments here below. Let us know what you think. Make Tuddy the Troll smile by hitting that subscribe button and ringing the bell. Be sure to check us out on all our social medias and join us on Friday for our Thursday Night Football recap and our studs and duds for week 1 of the NFL season. I'm Noah Selby.
And I'm Wes Selby.
And this has been 4th and Troll Fantasy. 4th and Troll Fantasy is a production of Selby Artistic Workshop.